Come on, skinny love, just lay singing. To pour a little soul we will never hear. My, 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 my. Staring at the same across me.
Hello, and welcome to episode 8 of the Avatar The Last Airbender podcast. That song right there is called Skinny Love by Bon Iver. His name is Bon Iver. Some people call him Bon Iver, but it's Bon Iver. And the reason why I picked that song is to me, it just sounds like summertime. That song sounds like summer. The one thing about Bon Iver is I like him once in a while. I can't take him in big doses, pause, but in small doses, I like him. You know, I like if you just sit in a dark room, throw him on, you're going to start to think. But, I mean, if I listen to him for too long, for some reason, I'm usually good with lyrics. I usually can understand what songs are about, but for some reason, his songs, I just have no idea what his songs are about, but it just sounds good. It sounds nice. And I have no idea what that song is about. Skinny Love, just by the title, it sounds like he loves a thin girl, but who the hell knows? It might be something different. But yeah, I thought that was a good song. So we are in episode 8, technically. I didn't record for the past few days because it was Memorial Day weekend. And my family, they said they would rather me hang out with them than watch cartoons for some reason. So I was able to watch 4 episodes over the weekend. So I watched episodes 15, 16, 17, and 18. And I kind of forgot what happened in 15 and 16, if I'm being honest. So I guess we're not going to talk too much about them. I guess the biggest thing in those 2 episodes that I remember is that Aang tried to learn firebending, but it was a little too early, and he ended up hurting Katara. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Apparently, I've been saying her name wrong this whole time. It's Katara, not Katana. Katana, I think, is like a sword or something, so that's why I might have been mixed up, but it's Katara. And one of my friends actually pointed that out to me. He said it's like guitar, but different. Katara. So that's how I remember it. So, yeah, Aang ended up hurting Katara because he wasn't ready to firebend yet. So that was the biggest thing that happened in 15 and 16. But in 17 and 18, those were good episodes. Because I just watched them this morning. 17 and 18, I'm going to be honest. I just watched those episodes not even an hour before I got on this camera right here. So I should be able to remember everything that happened. We'll see. So in 17, Aang hears that there might be more airbenders. So he goes to check it out. Turns out they're phonies. They're not real airbenders. But even though they can't bend air, they got the spirit. And sometimes the spirit is more important than the actual bending. You know? Sometimes just being excited about something is better than being good at it. That's what I've learned. And that's what that episode showed. But anyway, so this kid's in the wheelchair. He's flying around. Kind of crazy. But it turns out it's just steam that's helping him fly. He's not an actual airbender. And actually, the genius behind it all, this man is a literal genius. He's inventing all types of stuff. But the genius is his dad. And the reason why he's hoping his kid flies because the kid can't walk. So he gets to fly. And Aang kind of gets upset with this because in order to get that kid to fly, they had to fuck up this one room. They put all these pipes and stuff in it to make the steam, to get the steam from the inside to the outside. So they put him in this one room, and I guess they put it in the most important room in the whole temple that showed the Airbenders' past. It was kind of like hieroglyphics, I guess, and they just fucked up the wall where the hieroglyphics were on. And Aang kind of got mad because it wasn't, because instead of restoring it, he destroyed it. Instead of restoring, he destroyed. And that got Aang upset. And that got me thinking, if I went back to my elementary school, I wonder how much things are different, you know? The one big thing I remember, the staple in the school, I remember about halfway through elementary school. I think elementary goes up to 5th grade, so about 3rd grade, 2nd, 3rd grade, we had this guy come in and paint a big mural. And if you don't know what a mural is, it's basically a big painting. It's a big picture. And we had this one guy come in and paint a mural in our cafeteria. So, I mean, it looked decent, but the guy that painted it he actually lived a couple doors down from me. And get this, his name was Dewey. That's his name, Dewey. I don't know I'm pretty sure that's his legal name. I don't think that was a nickname. His name was Dewey, and Dewey was an interesting man, to say the least. I remember every year, Christmas, his lights would be perfect. He would go all out on his lights, and he made sure those lights were straight. I mean, you look at it and you just get cut with how sharp those lines were, man. It's crazy. He was wild. I remember one time we were taking a dog for a walk and we passed by his house, and it was at night. It was kind of late at night, and his whole family's out there. Look, he has his phone in his hand like this, and he's looking up at the stars. We're like, what is this? What is Dewey doing? Turns out there was this app that he had that tracked spaceships, I guess, space shuttles. And apparently one was flying over our neighborhood in a couple seconds. So we're like, oh, damn, okay. I mean, we'll wait and watch it with you. So we sat there for a couple minutes, and it never passed. So I'm guessing the app didn't work. I'm guessing Dewey got tricked. But, you know, he had the spirit. He was out there and he wanted to see it. And he was real excited about it. I remember that, but it just didn't work out. And that kind of reminds me of another story. In junior high, my locker neighbor, I didn't have any neighbors to the right of my locker, but to the left of my locker, it was this guy named Hassan. And Hassan was the first person I ever met in junior high, because the first thing you do when you get to school is go to your locker. So naturally, you're going to talk to your locker neighbor first. And I know this is true in college, but the first people you meet in college, those are kind of your forced friends. And those are the people that you hang out with just because you have no other options. And then once you get options, then usually you break apart from those people. And thank God me and Hassan broke apart, because that dude was wild. He was something else. I remember one day, this was probably like the 3rd day of school, right? I get to my locker, he's there, and he goes, yo, Cody, check this out. Check this out. I got this right here. You're never going to believe this, but he pulls out this little black piece of rubber, and he goes, I was standing at the bus stop, and this fell from the sky. and hit my foot, and I think it's from a UFO. And I'm like, bro, that's a piece of rubber. I don't think the aliens would use rubber. But he was convinced that it was something, and he was gonna put it online and sell it for a bunch of money. But I don't think he did. I don't think anyone bought it. But anyway, so yeah, we had. Now that I'm thinking about it, we had a bunch of people in our neighborhood with unorthodox names. I'll say it like that. I'll say it nicely. Unorthodox names. Because Dewey, I've never met a Dewey except for him, and I don't think I will ever meet another Dewey. The neighbors to the right of me, the kid that I used to play with, his name was Gavin, and I've never met a Gavin. He's the only Gavin I've ever met. So that's kind of a different name, I guess. Then his dad's name, or his stepdad, I guess. His stepdad's name was Corbett. And that is a crazy first name. Corbett? And Corbett, he was also a character. I remember every summertime, he would ring our doorbell and ask my dad to help him fix his lawnmower. Because he would break it every single year, somehow. And for some reason, Corbett, he would try and do it himself, but he wouldn't do it in his garage. Nope, that would make too much sense. He wouldn't try and fix the lawnmower in his garage. He wouldn't even do it in the driveway. You want to know where he would do it? In his backyard, in the grass. He would try and fix his lawnmower in the grass. And since his lawnmower didn't work, the grass was long. So he lost about half the lawnmower trying to fix it just because he was trying to do it in the grass. So that just kind of goes to show just the kind of person Corbett was. He really didn't think things through like that. I remember one time in our driveway, we had a basketball hoop, and I would play with that all the time. I would just go out there and shoot just to pass some time, stay active. And one time, Corbett came home the same time I was playing basketball, so he came over to play, and which nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's good. He just wanted to shoot a little bit, so nothing wrong with that, right? But the thing is, he had Skechers shape-ups. And if you don't know what Skechers shape-ups are, they're these shoes that are supposed to make your butt look better. And just because the way that they're shaped, I guess it's a workout. Just walking, you get a workout in. And so I don't know why he had them, because I would think those are like a girl's shoe, but he had them, right? And he tried to play basketball with it. Within a minute of him playing, he twists his ankle and has to go home. And I mean, shit, he deserves it. You shouldn't be playing basketball in shape-ups. So that was another interesting character. So we got Dewey, Corbett, the guy across from the street, their son, his name was Gleb. 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 And shit, I don't remember what he looked like, because he was like a little baby when they lived across the street from us. But he would always wear this dinosaur hat. I remember that. But the main thing I remember about Gleb is, for some reason, his parents would let him run around outside butt-ass naked. They just didn't see a problem with it, I guess. So he would be outside naked all the time. And luckily, I was a kid, so I didn't really think nothing of it. But shit, if my parents were outside, and a cop rolled by, they might go to jail for looking. It's just that it's crazy. And I guess they kind of started the trend on the block, because pretty soon all these little kids were running around naked all the time, and the parents didn't do anything about it. That's just my neighborhood. So you have a bunch of little kids running around naked, and his name was Gleb. So, and I'll never meet another Gleb. I can guarantee that, or else I can only hope it, I guess, because if your name is Gleb, man, you're gonna have something wrong with you. So let's see, where were we? So Aang gets mad at the genius for wrecking his temple. And then he figures out that the genius is making weapons for the Fire Nation, and the Fire Nation is coming to collect, and Aang helps the genius and everybody else in that temple fight off the Fire Nation, and they do it successfully. So that was happy to see. I was glad to see that. So then in episode 18, 18, yes. Hold on, let me think. What happens in episode 18? Oh yeah, we finally reached the North Pole. I thought it was never gonna happen, but it did. And we get there and we meet this real bitch of a fucking air or waterbender. He's just an asshole. That's the only way to put it. He's an asshole. And he won't teach Katara because she's a woman. First bitch move. Second bitch move. Aang tries to stick up for her. And Aang tries to help Katara out on the side. And he kicks them both out. Or he wants to kick them both out because Aang is helping a girl waterbender. That's a second bitch move. So, and that's just, he makes me mad. But then he finds out that Katara is the granddaughter of this girl he used to love. And then I guess they're all right with each other. But then Sokka, he sees this beautiful princess, this girl who he likes. And, he's flirting with her. And it turns out she just turned 16. So she's allowed to marry. But they have an arranged marriage for her. So too bad for Sokka. But I remember when I was 16, that's when you first get your license. And probably the first or second week of me having my license, I got pulled over for speeding. Naturally, if you're alone in the car for the first time, you're going to want to go fast. So I got pulled over for speeding, and I was driving through the Illinois State University campus, right? So the cop flips on their lights, and I pull over, and I just so happen to pull in front. I'm guessing it was a frat house. It might have been an apartment complex, but I'm thinking it was like a frat house, and it was winter. My birthday's in November, so there was snow on the ground. And so I just so happened to pull up in front of the frat house. And right in front of the frat house, not even 5 feet from my car, like right on the curb, the guys, they built a giant dick out of snow. Instead of a snowman, they built a big dick with the snow. So that was very awkward. Trying to talk to the cop and seeing a giant penis out of the corner of my eye. So that's crazy. So Aang is learning waterbending. That's basically the moral of the story. And I have some interesting stories about some of my mentors, because this old guy is a waterbender mentor for Ang, and I have some stories about my high school baseball coach, but we just hit 20 minutes, and I don't really want to get into that right now. So maybe next episode I could talk a little more about that, because that guy, my high school baseball coach, he's one of a kind, for sure. So, oh yeah, one more thing I wanted to talk about. I forgot about this. Thank God I remembered. So, so there's two stories basically going on in episode 18. So you have the Aang trying to learn waterbending, and then you have the Fire Tribe story. And Zoku, it's interesting because there's different, I want to call them hierarchies within the Fire Nation. And not the hierarchies like king, prince, peasants, not like that hierarchy. I'm talking about the hierarchy as a watcher when you're watching these kind of behind the scenes Fire Nation interactions. As a watcher, there's people that you dislike more than other people in the Fire Nation. It's kind of interesting, because when you think of the Fire Nation, you think all bad. But then when you just see the Fire Nation story, then you start to see, like, I mean, yeah, Zoku is a bad guy, but the guy above him, Zhao or something, the captain, he's even worse. So you're kind of rooting for Zoku. At least I am. You're rooting for Zoku in those exchanges. And then the uncle, I mean, I've already talked about him. He's just a cool ass dude, so I rock with him. But yeah, you kind of feel bad for Zoku in a way, because he's just trying to get his father's approval. And he's doing what's right in his mind. So that's very interesting, I think, because when they're fighting Aang, when the Fire Nation's fighting Aang, obviously you're gonna side with Aang because he's the good guy. But in these little side stories, and like the captain comes and he's like, he tells Zoku, he's like, all right, I'm taking all your men, and we're gonna go get Aang by ourselves. You can't really help us. And you kind of feel bad for Zoku and you side with him. And they almost try and, well, they do try and kill him. The captain hires the pirates to blow him up, and somehow Zoku lives. And then the last thing you see in the episode is Zoku's undercover on the captain's ship. So the captain thinks that Zoku's dead, but he's not. And I like that. I really like that. That might be one of my favorite things about this show, is just the I don't want to say this word wrong, because it's not depthness. It's like depth. I think that's the word. Yeah. The depth of the bad guys is so cool to me. And you might be watching it and you might be thinking something different, but for me, I see the Fire Nation as levels. And when I see this start to play out, I'm starting to think Zoku's not that bad of a guy. That's just my initial impressions with the first season. So, all right. I appreciate you for watching. I think that about sums it up. I know I took a few days off, so I'm going to really start to hit this hard again. I just want to keep it going. So, until next time. And I never know how to end these things. So I'm just going to end it like this. Goodbye.